Hi guys, today I wanted to talk to you about chores for our children, and I also wanted to give you some tips on how to get our kids to help around the house. I've already done a video on how to keep the house clean with children, and in that video I talk a lot about how when my kids were younger I just wanted to be able to let them finger paint and play in the mud and play with Play-Doh and make messes, but I didn't want my house to be a total disaster, and I share a lot of tips on just ways to make it work. So I'm going to link that below, and if you haven't watched any of my videos before, I have 13 and 16-year-old boys, and I can honestly say that I am starting to see the benefits of all the hard work that goes into teaching kids to clean up after themselves and giving them chores and following through and being patient and all of that. So a lot of the things that you teach them when they're younger, chores and things, they become habits. And I know my kids, they are not perfect. Sometimes I still have to remind them to pick up a wet towel off the bathroom floor or put their snack dishes away or something like that. And they're never going to be perfect, but for the most part, they do clean up after themselves and they do like things clean. And also it just teaches them to be responsible and helpful. I know that they are willing to help, others at school or whatever because they're used to doing that. So there are a lot of benefits outside of just keeping a clean house. You're teaching them responsibility, you're teaching them to be helpful, and that will carry on when they are older and they have their own homes and they're married, and hopefully they'll be willing to help out around the house, and they've already been used to cleaning up after themselves and everything. So I am just going to share the things that I did when they were younger and just kind of go through up until now and what they do now. So when my kids were toddlers, one of the first things that I had them do was put their dirty clothes in a central basket. So we would all put our dirty clothes in a basket, and then when I went down to do laundry, I would just take that basket and sort it. So as long as they are able to walk and, take their clothes and put them there, usually little kids kind of like doing that stuff because they kind of get to act like you and they feel, like a grown-up or whatever. So my kids started doing that when they were little. And then the next thing I had them do when they were just like probably 2 or 3, we just had very simple bedding for them, and they would just pull their comforter up, and then they would just put their pillow at the top of the bed. Nothing complicated. I didn't expect it to be perfect, but it was just teaching them that when they get out of the bed, they pull the comforter up, put the pillow at the top, and that way it's neat, and it just starts the habit of making their beds. And then as they got older, they were able to, pull the sheet straight and make it a little neater, and now they make their beds every single morning, and it's just a habit, just like it is for me. We just do it and don't really think about it. So that started when they were a toddler. And then the other thing that I had them do was when they were done eating and they had their little plastic dishes, they would just take it over to the dishwasher and put it in the dishwasher. And because they were using plastic, forks and bowls and cups, I wasn't really worried about them breaking anything. And I notice sometimes on Facebook, I see so many pictures of like toddler age kids in the dishwasher, on the dishwasher door and everything, because they love that place. They think it's so fun. So why not let them put their little plastic dishes in, and then as they get older, it will just be a habit. And I'll talk a little bit more about what we do now. Also, when they were toddlers, I would have them clean up their toys when they were done playing. Now, I helped my kids when they were toddlers because they would have, a lot of toys out and they'd start to get tired, and, I felt like they kind of needed a little bit of help. I mentioned this tip before, but one thing that I always did was I would give them a little warning. So I would say, we're going to clean up in 5 minutes. It's going to be time to clean up. And that way it wasn't like they're having a blast, running around and playing, and all of a sudden it's like, you got to clean up now. Of course they're not going to want to clean up. So I'd always give them a little warning, and then I would help them. Now, they didn't always, behave perfectly. And I remember that was probably the hardest part of trying to teach kids, chores and cleaning up, was their toys. And we would have the big Legos and they would have a bunch of them out and everything. And it would be time to clean up. And, you just have to be patient and stick with it and, keep on going, and eventually they will do it. Also, I recommend with their toys to keep it simple. If it is something where things are so organized and like every little, army guy or Lego guy has its own little spot, your kids aren't going to be able to clean up. So we would just have like one bin for Legos, one bin for Army guys, one bin for Star Wars guys. I have boys, so I don't know what all the girl stuff is, but that way all of this stuff was where they could find it. So if they were looking for a Lego guy, they could at least dig through and find it, but it wasn't so complicated that they could never clean it up. So just make it reasonable for them. So that's pretty much what they did when they were toddlers. Now when they started school, I would make their lunches when they first started, and I would get their clothes out and everything. But when they got home, it wasn't just come in and drop everything. They had to put everything away and change their clothes and put their dirty clothes away and things like that. And then as they got a little bit older, I think they were around the age of 8, I would have them make their lunches. And I just kept it very simple so they knew exactly what they needed to do for their lunch. They had to have some type of sandwich. They could pick either yogurt or string cheese. They had to have a piece of fruit, and then they could have a snack. So I had it divided out. I've shown how I divide their snacks in my pantry video and my refrigerator video, but basically I had all the snacks divided out into sandwich bags, so all they had to do was grab one, and then if I had apples or bananas or whatever, they could just grab that. But if I had like grapes or strawberries, they would be cut up and put either in a little Ziploc bag or a dish. So that made it simple for them to pack their own lunch. My boys also would pick their clothes out for the next day, and then I would iron them. They go to a private school, so they had to have colored shirts and khakis and things. But you could definitely have your kids pick out their clothes so that they're not, rummaging through their drawers in the morning and trying to figure out what they're going to wear and everything. And that just instills in them the habit to prepare the night before, and that will build as they get a little bit older. So all of the things that they started to do when they were toddlers, make their beds, put their clothes in the laundry basket, clean up after themselves, put their dishes in the dishwasher, they continued to do those things. And then when they were 8 and 10, they started packing their own lunches, getting their own clothes out. Around the ages of 8 to 10, they started getting an allowance. And we started giving them an allowance mostly because they would want, little things here and there. But we didn't want them to always be like asking us for money, and we wanted them to see the value of money and how if you spend it all, at the beginning of the month, it's gone. And we wanted to teach them saving and giving and all of those things. And then we started adding some more chores onto what they were already doing. So then they started separating their laundry. So instead of just putting it all in one basket for me to separate, I had the baskets in the basement in our laundry room, and when I first started, I just made up tags, and they would say towels, light laundry, dark laundry, white, so that way they knew which basket to put everything in. And since they are older now and they know, I just keep those baskets all in the same spot and I don't have to label them anymore. But I did have the labels on there for a few years just to get them used to separating things. So they started separating their own laundry, and then they started unloading the dishwasher and setting the table. And this is what we do. We have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, one of my boys will unload the dishwasher and the other one will set the table. And then Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday it's switched. So just just so it's not confusing, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Christian sets the table and Joshua will unload the dishwasher. And then Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, Joshua will set the table and Christian unloads the dishwasher. I like doing it this way, even though I could simply do every other day, because that leaves out Sunday. And the reason I wanted to do that is because, say we're at someone's house one night and no one has to set the table, and then it's like, well, you did it last night, no I didn't, you know, and everything. And that way it's just set. It's a Monday, you need to set the table. It's a Tuesday, you need to unload the dishwasher. And that just keeps it simple. On Sunday, I don't have a specific person. And the reason I did this is because I wanted to teach my kids that they need to help and do things when they're asked, even if it isn't like their set day. So if I ask Christian to unload the dishwasher on Sunday, then he should be willing to help. So that's just how we do it. And if I ask Josh to fold the laundry, then he should be willing to help. And I try to keep it fair, but I just want to teach them to help regardless of if it's their set day. So they started doing those things, and then I started having them fold laundry. I just took the time to show them how to fold towels and, you know, things. And it's a lot of the time I fold the laundry, but if I have been busy and I didn't get to it, then I'll just ask them. And again, it's just teaching them to be willing to help, even if it isn't like your set thing. And that just really reveals their attitude and their heart, and that's, you know, really important. As far as like yard work and cleaning out the garage and, you know, raking the leaves and all of those things, we have them help with all of those things. We don't give them extra money or anything like that. It's just like John will say, all right, this weekend we're going to clean out the garage, and they are expected to help. And that just teaches them, again, to be helpful and be willing to put the work in, even if it isn't something where they're going to get paid. And that will teach them to help at school. It'll teach them to help their teachers. It'll teach them to pitch in. I hope that was helpful. I hope it gave you some tips on how you can, you know, start doing some chores in your home. And we're all different, so I was just sharing what works for me. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Thank you so much for watching.